emotional now, yeah? Do you want to talk to the camera yet or not?
It has been a few days since the marathon, since we got this bad boy and the big PB. So now it's time just to go through a bit of a race debrief and talk about what happened in the race, what happened before the race, during the race, after the race, and my views and thoughts on it. Before we get into it today, I do want to say a massive thank you to this video's sponsor, which is SOAR Running. They provided me with the race day kit, the vest and the shorts, which were amazing. Could not fault that kit at all, and they've been incredibly supportive, and they've also given me a discount code to share with you guys, which is CAL15. So if you do fancy any of the kit from their website, you can go on there, use that code and get a 15% discount. Okay, so as I talked about previously, the race strategy was to go off feel/heart rate and let the heart rate drift towards the end, but try and work in the heart rate zone that I've been working at in the long runs, which has been particularly successful. That, however, went out of the window pretty soon when I got into the start pen after we dropped off the bags and realised that I'd in fact left my heart rate monitor, the chest strap, which I always wear. So my whole race plan is off. I've just got to the stadium, the bag's dropped off, and I've realised that I've not put my chest heart rate strap on. So yeah, I'm gonna have the Garmin heart rate, the wrist-based stuff, but it's not quite as accurate, not what I've been training with, and not what the race plan was. So the race strategy that I discussed in the previous video was kind of out the window, kind of not. You've still obviously got wrist-based heart rate on your watch, which is, you know, it's not a million miles off, but I have been using the really accurate stuff with the chest strap. I made a little bit of an error in that moment in the pen. I wasn't going to look at pace per mile, just wait for the splits to come up. And I made the error, which came back at me later on in the race, to, for some reason, change my data field so I had average lap pace and the heart rate of the wrist. I don't know why I did that. I don't know if it was just a bit of nerves, a bit of panic, I don't know. But later on in the race, when I could see my pace slipping, it actually sent me into a little bit of a negative spin, and I'll talk about that in a minute. The start of the race, the start in the stadium was amazing. It wasn't congested at all. I was in the pink pen, which was 3 hours to 3:30. Unlike a lot of other marathons, you don't actually need to put in a previous marathon. So a lot of bigger marathons, you either have to have a previous time to be put into a pen, or if you haven't got a previous time, then you'll automatically be put in one of the later pens. I originally entered into the 3:30 pen with the hope that when I came around to doing the race, I might be in 3:30 shape. Obviously, I wasn't, but I decided to stay in that pen anyway, just to get out there and get going. All pretty relaxed, and it felt like a nice pace. I did, however, very, very early on feel like my legs were just heavy, my chest was heavy, and where I've had this cold and this thing on my chest, I've found that when I get to a certain heart rate or a certain effort, I start coughing more. And that certainly happened in this race. As soon as my heart rate got up and it started drifting a little bit, I started coughing a lot more. And then once I started coughing, that's it. I can't stop. So the coughing was a bit of a pain in the bum. A couple of the coughing fits I did have to stop. I find it really hard to cough and run. I don't know if some people can do it, but I find that it just like, I don't know, the motion of coughing. So right from the start, it just felt hard. It just didn't feel great. It didn't feel like some of my good long runs. It just felt really like an effort just to move my body, and kind of fitness wise, I didn't feel it. But body wise, I did. And I don't know if that makes sense, but my whole body just felt tired and, I don't know, run down, I guess. But you know, it was all right. It was absolutely fine until the halfway point. So by the time that I've reached the halfway point, that is the river out and back. Now, if you've run Amsterdam or you ran it on Sunday, you will know that that river keeps on giving. It's actually mentally really, really tough. So you are running along the river. You can see everybody else coming back along the river the other way. But every time you go around a little bend on the way out, which is into a headwind, you keep thinking this is going to be the turning point, this is going to be when I'm going to cross the river, but it keeps on going, and it goes, and it goes. And it feels like you are on the out of that river for quite a while. Then you get to the end, and there's a bridge, which feels like a really sharp incline because it's so flat. And then there's this incline over the bridge after you've been beaten down going out along this river. It was beautiful though. Some beautiful houses there, beautiful river, and these guys doing like this jet stream stuff on the river. That was all really good. And then when you turn to come back, it is a little bit of a boost, knowing that you're heading back towards the centre. It did feel hard by halfway, and because I'd made the error of putting my pace on my watch, I could see that my pace was slipping, and I think this got into my head quite a bit. I could see that for the effort I was giving, the pace and my pace dropping to what it did just didn't feel right. It wasn't good. It didn't make me feel good, and it got into my head, and that's when the negative thoughts really started coming in. So I can tell you that the negative thoughts really do impact your running. As soon as I started feeling negative and I was like, this is hard, this doesn't feel like it should do, it became a real battle to stay in the race. That at one point I even said to Matt, I want to DNF. Now, thank goodness I had Matt with me. I don't think it was a serious DNF attempt. Like, I didn't stop to kind of walk off the course or find a way out or anything like that. But the thought came into my head that, you know, this isn't great. But anyway, I said that to Matt, and that was the first kind of time that I was really verbalising how I felt. So up until this point, right from the off, it felt really tough, but I didn't say anything to Matt because I thought if I verbalise it, I'm giving it space, I'm bringing that negativity in. Up until that point when I said to him, I want to DNF, this is too hard, I'm really struggling. And as soon as I spoke those words, anyway, thankfully for Matt, he was just like, no, come on, you can still do this, you're still on for a huge PB, just run the race. And he was really all about changing my mindset to trying to be more positive. It took a couple of miles, and I really did hit a rough patch with the coughing, but just not feeling great, and this negative mindset. But eventually I just managed to kind of put it back in the box. I think in my head I was just like, I'm going to finish this, whatever, so stop complaining, put it back in, and just keep moving forward. It is as simple as one foot in front of the other. It made the world of difference. The last part of the race was amazing. I enjoyed it again, I came back again, just kept moving forward, kind of trying to keep a rhythm. There were a few more walk breaks through water stations, and to have the flat Coke, which I'll talk about. And yeah, just kept moving forward. But as soon as I just stopped moaning like I was doing in those few miles where I didn't feel great, it made an awful lot of difference. I have to say the crowds in Amsterdam are unreal. So good. So much energy all along the route. And I can't really remember, I don't think there was many, or if any, really quiet bits without people just lining the streets. And just, yeah, really good atmosphere. They were so good. And because you had your name on the bibs, there were always people shouting your name. So you felt like a hero when you were running past people, and especially groups of people that really got enthusiastic when shouting you and cheering you on. That made such a difference. The fueling didn't exactly go to plan. I did miss a few gels towards the later end of the marathon, and that's where the Coke came in. The flat Coke was amazing. It was flat, as much as we could get it flat, so we'd opened it the night before to kind of let all the gas bubbles come out, so it wasn't fizzy, which I don't think I could drink a fizzy drink in a marathon. But the flat Coke was really good, just that sugar boost, the caffeine, yeah, I think that really helped just to kind of wrap up the marathon and keep going. So the gels were good, only 3 gels in total. I missed one and I squirted one all over Matt, and then didn't bother towards the end. I did have a couple of backpacks of Haribo, and I gotta say my blood sugars, they had a little spike at the beginning, and I think that was adrenaline, but other than that they stayed really stable all the way through, even with the flat Coke, so I think that helped keep them stable at a good level. So the blood sugars were really good during that marathon. I had my breakfast 3 hours before, and that was porridge and a banana, not even a cup of tea on race morning because the tea bags, I got the wrong tea bags. And yeah, no tea or coffee, just water, porridge, and banana. Actually, fueling wise, I felt like that was all really good. I was so emotional at the end. I am unbelievably proud of that PB. I'm unbelievably proud of this block. It's been amazing. So to get a 42-minute PB is incredible. And I know how I felt during that race. I know how hard it was and how different it felt to some of the amazing long runs, or even some of the difficult long runs that I've had. It felt, you know, difficult, more difficult than I thought it was going to be. So I think all of the emotions came out at the end. You know, I'm pleased, I'm over the moon with the PB. I found it difficult, I was shattered. All of the amazing emotions that we all feel after a marathon. It's a completely different beast, the marathon, and I think the level of emotions and the difference in emotions that it brings is just incredible. Even when you're running it, 1 minute you're high, then you're low, then you're kind of alright, then you get emotional. Yeah, I absolutely loved it. And I think as well, it was just because of the beginning of the year and missing Manchester when I got so close. I think it just meant a lot. Just means a lot to be able to put a training block out there and kind of wrap it up and actually finish it, see it through. There are a few things I would change next time. It's all trial and error, isn't it, when you do these marathons? You do the training blocks, but you don't actually get much chance to practice the race, the big race day. You know, most people do 2 marathons a year, a spring and an autumn, so you've got 2 chances each year to kind of get the taper right, to get the marathon day right, to get everything else right. So yeah, there are a few things I'd probably change about the race. I think my strategy of going to field kind of worked, and I did go to field with how I felt on the day. It wasn't great pacing at all. You know, I tailed off hugely. I went out fast. I went out enthusiastic that I'd feel okay once I started. All of these things. So pacing is something that I definitely need to work on and still try and get right in the next marathon. When it comes to training, there are a couple of things that I can work on still to get my time down more, to get closer to the Boston qualifying. And there are little things that we'll do in the next cycle or the cycle after that. But there are things that I'd like to work on. I think more long runs, maybe more long runs with some kind of harder segments in it. I did a lot of easy long runs. I don't know, maybe that would work. I definitely think that working on my 5k time would be beneficial now for the marathon, bringing all of my shorter stuff down, getting some speed. But overall, you know, I am over the moon. I'm happy with the result. And, you know, who knows if I was 100% whether it would have been different or not. We don't know. You know, the marathon doesn't owe us anything. It really isn't as simple as plug in X and Y and you will come out with Z. There's no guarantee when we do the training, when we put in the miles, whatever volume we're doing, whether we're doing high volume, low volume, whatever you're running, there's no magic formula. Put this into your marathon training and you will get this on marathon day. So I'm happy, you know, I've taken a massive chunk off. I'm 42 minutes closer to that North Star, that BQ. I'll be going again. I've actually got a race in December. It is Valencia Marathon. It's actually Matt's goal race. So he's going out there and trying to run, I don't know, as close to 2:20 as he can. But I'm going to be going out there as well. So I'm just going to go and, you know, have a go at it. Go and run Valencia, just see what happens on the day, no pressure. I don't know at this moment in time how I'm going to run that. We're just going to see how the next few weeks go. The next couple of weeks are all about recovery from Amsterdam. And then that's kind of like 4 weeks, 3 weeks of, it's not really training, I guess, it's taking over until going again at Valencia. So I don't know if I'm going to race that. I don't know if I'm just going to go and enjoy it. Just see what happens with that one. It'll be what it will be, but I will keep you updated as to what's happening with that one. I'm really excited about how much I've changed. Mentally and physically in this training cycle. Mentally, I'm a lot more relaxed. You know, when I started going for this BQ, I was so obsessed with times and getting the BQ that I forgot that it is a process and you have to work at it. You have to get the basics right and you've just got to put in the work and the effort and keep turning up and hope that improvements come from that. But have these big goals but not focus on them to the detriment of working at them. It's like a you know, less talking, more doing kind of thing. So yeah, the BQ, you know, we're still working towards it. I'm excited about how much I've changed. I think, you know, it's all happening. It's all happening in its own sweet time, and I'm excited for Valencia. I'm excited for Valencia, just see what happens, and hopefully be 100% for Valencia. But then after that, you know, whether I take a step back and work on the shorter stuff, or whether we go again in the spring, I've not decided yet. I loved this training block. I loved the marathon training. I loved everything, the volume. I loved the mixture of the runs. I loved that, and I really enjoyed it. So you know, to do another marathon training cycle isn't something that I'd be like, oh, God, here we go again. It's something that excites me. A huge thank you to Matt, who is just the most incredibly supportive partner, and I couldn't do half of it without him. We are a team. He just does everything in his power to help me and to help me achieve my goals and dreams, whilst actually working on his own as well. Not only is he incredibly supportive as my partner in life, with family, he's also been an amazing coach for me. And there's one thing about Matt, he cares about every aspect of his athletes' training. And yeah, I've been incredibly fortunate. You know, he's got me PB after PB after PB, and I'm excited for where we go in the future. I'm hungry for more, and I can't wait to try again for more. But for now, I'm absolutely going to just enjoy the moment I'm in. A massive thank you once again for all of your support through this training cycle, through all the previous training cycles, and all of your messages of congratulations. Really does mean such a lot, and I promise you I do read them, and I try and get back to as many as I can. But yeah, just thank you so much. What's next? Well, we've got a few things up in the pipeline for the next few videos, and then it will be Valencia. Maybe there'll be a little mini series towards Valencia, who knows, just to see what happens whilst I'm ticking over, just to get to Valencia Marathon. I'm not going to be gaining a great amount of fitness now in this time. It's just going to be about staying sharp, so perhaps sharpening up. I don't know, it's something I'm going to talk about with Coach and see what we're going to do for these 4 weeks that I'll get of training for Valencia in December. I hope you are all well, and your running is going good. Let me know in the comments how you are doing at the moment, what your next race goal is. I'd also like to know what spring marathons you have eyed up. If you have a spring marathon eyed up, perhaps you have another race or another distance in the pipeline. Meanwhile, that's it for me. I'm going to go and carry on eating more food. I have eaten so much food this week recovering. Just been walking the dog and eating food, and it's been great. I've really enjoyed that as well. Not wearing the medal everywhere, just for you guys today. But thank you.